What we clearly heard from Donald Trump is never sell your Bitcoin. Big question was, does the United States sell Bitcoin? Does the United States buy Bitcoin? If you recall, the German government sold a lot of Bitcoin at $55,000 a Bitcoin. It turns out to be a more than $1 billion mistake in a couple of weeks. Big mistake.
In a recent interview with Natalie Brunell, Michael Saylor delved into Bitcoin's current price surge, describing its volatility as a double-edged sword that is now revealing its true value. Saylor emphasized that long-term capital preservation lies at the heart of Bitcoin's allure, noting that over $450 trillion is invested in assets designed to safeguard wealth for future generations. He contrasted Bitcoin's role as a store of value with traditional currencies, highlighting its unparalleled ability to protect and grow wealth over time, despite the everyday utility of fiat money. As Bitcoin's price skyrockets, it continues to dominate conversations in the realm of digital assets, capturing the attention of institutional investors and government bodies alike. A pivotal question looms. Will the United States opt to buy or sell Bitcoin? This dilemma is underscored by historical precedents, such as Germany's decision to offload a substantial portion of its Bitcoin holdings when prices hovered around $55,000, a move that proved costly as prices surged, resulting in losses exceeding $1 billion within weeks. Such instances provoke critical reflections on whether governments and institutions fully grasp Bitcoin's potential as a transformative asset class. Amidst this financial revolution, the discourse around Bitcoin's role is rapidly evolving. The current price increase is not just a fleeting trend, but a signal of Bitcoin's capacity to redefine wealth storage and transfer on a global scale. Watch clips from Michael Saylor's interview to gain more insight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications for additional in-depth content. Enjoy the video.
What we clearly heard from Donald Trump is never sell your Bitcoin.
Rule that every Bitcoiner knows by heart: never sell your Bitcoin, right?
Big question was, does the United States sell Bitcoin? Does the United States buy Bitcoin? If you recall, the German government sold a lot of Bitcoin at $55,000 a Bitcoin. It turns out to be a more than $1 billion mistake in a couple of weeks. Big mistake. And people used to speculate, well, you know, is the government going to dump the Bitcoin? Are they not? And now what you see is Trump is pro-Bitcoin. And with the red sweep, that means the Republicans run the Senate, control the Senate, and they control the House, which means the pro-Bitcoin senators, like Senator Lummis, have now moved from being in the minority to being in the majority. In the minority, you watch the laws being written. In the majority, you write the laws, you pass the laws. Before November 5th, there was actually broad consensus in the House and the Senate to repeal SAB 121. And they did. And the president vetoed it. So what I would expect is that SAB 121 will be either withdrawn by the SEC or it will be repealed, and the president will support the repeal. That opens the way for banks to custody Bitcoin. That opens the way for the entire banking system to embrace Bitcoin. And I think for Bitcoin to grow by a factor of 100x from here, we need for the banking system of the world to support Bitcoin. So if I think about the consequences for Bitcoin, I think what this means is it's an acceleration of pro-Bitcoin regulations. I think that we'll see in-kind creation and redemption of Bitcoin ETFs. I think we'll see the repeal of SAB 121. I think we'll see support for Bitcoin within the banking system from the banking regulators, from Treasury, from OCC, from SEC. I think you'll see more supportive legislation from Congress. I think it will be approved by the White House. I think that this is a signal to accelerate institutional adoption. I think that the previous administration had been hostile to Bitcoin mining, hostile to Bitcoin banking, hostile to the Bitcoin ETFs. The failure of Silicon Valley Bank, followed by the shutdown, I mean, effectively the forcible liquidation of Silvergate and Signature, even though those were solvent banks. I mean, they were perfectly healthy banks that were actually forced into receivership by a hostile administration. I think that had caused the banking establishment, reasonably enough, to be skittish and to be conservative and a little bit slow to adopt Bitcoin because they could see there was resistance in the administration. I think that now, with a new administration, with President Trump coming to the Bitcoin conference in Nashville and saying, I will end the war on crypto, I will end the war on Bitcoin, I will support Bitcoin, we will not sell our Bitcoin, we're going to make Bitcoin in America. America is going to be the capital of Bitcoin, right? The fact that he said that, I think that sets the tone at the top. That means I think, number one, it seems inconceivable to me that a head of the Treasury or the CFTC or the SEC will be appointed that is anti-Bitcoin or anti-crypto, right? That seems quite obvious. We know that Trump is all in on crypto, all in on Bitcoin. So I think that we'll have favorable, supportive cabinet members.
With the Republican Party now controlling both the Senate and House in the U.S., pro-Bitcoin senators have gained significant influence, allowing for potential shifts in legislation. Saylor expects the repeal or withdrawal of SAB 121, which will enable banks to hold Bitcoin and integrate it into the banking system. He anticipates the acceleration of Bitcoin-supportive regulations, including Bitcoin ETFs and favorable legislation. Saylor argues that under Trump's administration, Bitcoin's institutional adoption will increase, marking a shift toward positive crypto policies. Saylor highlights that most wealth is not held in pure currency, but in assets with utility, such as real estate, art, and businesses. He argues that in a world without perfected digital capital, assets are often overvalued and must be monetized for utility. Let's watch more clips from the interview.
I think if you look at the world today, there's $900 trillion or more of wealth in the world. A lot of that wealth is invested in real estate. A lot of that wealth is invested in equity. A lot of that wealth is invested in gold, in art. A lot of that wealth is in currencies. A lot of that wealth is in bonds, corporate bonds, governmental bonds, and then a lot of that wealth is in various other forms of derivatives. The compelling use case, the most important use case in the world, the most valuable thing in the world is just long-term capital, long-term store of value. That's worth half of all that. $450 trillion worth of long-term capital, right? When people struggle with what's the use case of Bitcoin or what's the use case of anything, well, the irony is they're staring right at it. It's like to be rich and stay rich forever. It's what everybody wants. It's what every kid wants. Every 3-year-old wants this. There's no one that ever lived in the history of the world that didn't want more money, more power, right? They wanted wealth and prosperity. So that's worth $450 trillion. Capital. That is the compelling thing. Now, what is currency? Well, currency is the medium of exchange. It's what I swap in order to get my gasoline or in order to buy a donut, in order to pay the rent. And it's the high frequency liquid money, liquid stable high frequency money. It allows 400 million companies to have a price list with 100 items on it. So you've got billions and billions and billions of prices in a certain currency, and we need to swap that back and forth at high frequency. Well, how valuable is that? I don't know, 10 trillion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 trillion? Not 450 trillion. A very simple use case, or a simple acid test is Jeff Bezos, worth 200 billion. How much of the 200 billion is invested in US dollars, pure dollars, in a savings account or a checking account right now? What, 1%? You think he's got $2 billion cash? No. He probably doesn't, Bernard Arnault, worth 180 billion. How many dollars or euros do you think Bernard Arnault has right now right? Not even 1%. So if the 450 trillion is the wealth, right? That is assets held for capital preservation. The other 400 trillion or 450 trillion assets held for utility. I have this house so we can have this interview. I like the backyard. I like the pool. I could park a yacht in the backyard. I like it. Utility.
Can't live in a Bitcoin.
The yacht is a utility. The jet is a utility. The chair is a utility. The art is utility value. It's okay. You own the sports team because you want to go sit courtside and root for the team, right? There are a lot of you own Apple because you want to root for Apple and you want dividends maybe. So you own a bakery because you like the idea of creating cool things with the bakery. You own the restaurant because you love the restaurant business. You own a resort in Hawaii because you want to invite your friends to the resort in Hawaii. There's a lot of things in the world that are held for their utility. You should own a bond because you want to clip the coupons. You want fixed income in a secure currency. In a world without digital capital, without perfected capital, then we have to monetize the real estate, monetize the bond, monetize the stock, monetize the art, monetize, everything under the sun. What does that mean? It means that you pay twice as much as it's worth.
Bitcoin is inching closer to $100,000, with its price skyrocketing and leaving the last sell walls in its dust. On November 22nd, Bitcoin came within 1% of reaching this milestone, touching nearly $99,800 on Bitstamp. After a brief dip below $96,000, Bitcoin rallied and surged again, showing significant bullish momentum. Traders are now watching the price, anticipating a possible violent breakout once Bitcoin clears the final resistance levels near the $100,000 mark. Market analysts like Skew noted that a violent breakout is likely to occur once Bitcoin clears the liquidity at these levels, as the price continues to chew through the remaining sell orders. The market has been showing positive signals, with limit bids moving higher, hinting that more upside could follow once Bitcoin hits the $100,000 threshold. An analysis of the Binance order book revealed that large amounts of sell orders are clustered around the $99,000 to $100,000 levels, with an even bigger surge expected once these orders are cleared. Meanwhile, some traders are taking risks by shorting Bitcoin at these levels, but experts are warning them that they could face significant losses. Data from CoinGlass confirmed that nearly $115 million in short liquidations occurred recently, adding fuel to the fire for a potential rally toward the 100,000 level. However, on-chain analytics from CryptoQuant highlighted a recent decline in spot trading volume, with Binance's trading activity decreasing despite Bitcoin's continued rally. As Bitcoin pushes toward the six-figure mark, the market is on edge. Bullish traders hope for a parabolic rise, while short sellers risk getting squeezed. As we come to a close, the question remains: will Bitcoin become the cornerstone of future financial systems, or will skepticism and regulation hold it back? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, share this video, and hit your thumbs on the like button. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.